Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome also on my behalf. Thank you very much for inviting me to the conference, and I would like to congratulate the organizers for this consultation. My name is Matjaz Eberlinc. I represent HSE. I primarily deal with investments within the HSE group. Both panels today spoke of legislative frameworks, of orientations, and also of goals. The question that I would like to put now is what is happening with environmental legislation? We know that at European level, many directives exist that cover various areas. The colleagues from the European Commission tell us that all directives are horizontally aligned, but when arriving at the environmental level, this is perhaps not the case. The first thing that they interpret are the two directives, the Habitat and the Bird Directive. They are key when we speak of locating infrastructural facilities into our environment. When we speak of constructing hydropower plants on the midsection of the Sava River Basin, I would like to show you an example which can be either taken as a barrier or as an opportunity, depending on which bank of the river you stand on. So, we have already heard that Slovenia's goals by 2020 are to achieve 25% in the gross final consumption of renewables. In 2020, the ratio stood at 18.7%. Out of this 25%, renewables constitute approximately 30%. Presently, we stand at 32%. We have many photovoltaic plants installed. I think that they exceed 3,200 hours. The State Secretary said before that this installed capacity is not neglectable. That is true, but we still are pursuing the goal of 39% or 25%, which means that we are still lagging behind and there is still much room for improvement. This graph shows you Slovenia's position vis-à-vis other EU member states. We are in the upper half, so above the average. And as Professor has emphasized previously, it is possible to achieve these goals primarily through the construction of hydropower plants. And one of such projects is being managed by the holding of Slovenian hydropower plants. The key data of these projects are: we are planning 10 power plants within this project, and we heard State Secretary say, and I also support him in advocating this solution, that 10 power plants are constructed. Our goal is to really tap the entire energy potential available from this project. We have obtained all the rights as concessionaire to use the water right on this part of the water course from Ljubljana to approximately Zidani Most. The estimated value of this project currently stands at 1.3 billion euros. This package includes also the infrastructural part. So if we only took into account the energy part, the constructing the energy facility alone, this would amount to approximately 900 million euro. we would install a 300 megawatt of new capacities, and these power plants would generate an additional amount of 1 terawatt hour per year. The Republic of Slovenia, in its action plan for renewable energy sources from 2010 to 2012, committed itself to, when it comes to power plants above 10 megawatts, to install an additional 1.1 gigawatt. Under this plan, there are also 3 power plants that belong to the Mid-Sava River Basin. This is a long-term project, i.e. it will be implemented over a period of 20 years. If we manage to fully exploit this potential that affords itself with a chain of power plants on the Sava River, we could exploit 72% of the potential available on the Sava River. This project goes hand in hand with the construction of power plants on the lower watercourse of the Sava River. With this project, we would be able to build a chain of 18 power plants, as was already foreseen decades ago. The project itself can be briefly presented on this video, so you see where these power plants are envisaged. On the upper Sava River, 4 of them next to the city of Ljubljana. Then in its mid-section around the town of Litija, another 3 plants have been envisaged. And in the bottom section of this project, 3 further power plants have been envisaged. On the 22nd of August, the government has adopted a decision to continue producing the spatial plan for these 3 power plants. And we have very much intensively started to prepare all the necessary documents. Now, to show you the entire area of the Mid-Sava River Basin, starting with Zidani Most. Here we plan Suhadol power plant with accumulation pool. Then here, this is the town of Hrastnik and a thermal power plant of Trbovlje, which also falls under our company, HSE. Here we have the town of Trbovlje and the hydropower plant of Trbovlje with its pass and the machine room. And here in this lower section, there would be the last of the 3 power plants called Renke with its barrier and machine room. Then we come to this flatter part of the river around the town of Litija. There we plan to set up a machine room and the power plant of Ponovice. And then this is the hill of Kon, and here would be another barrier and accumulation pool. Then the next envisaged power plant is the power plant of Kresnice. Here accumulation, and then the next power plant, Jevnice. All these power plants have a flow-through type, or of a flow-through type, and they are comparable to those already existing on the lower part of the Sava River. Here we come close to the river, to the town of Ljubljana. Here we have envisaged another power plant, Zalog, and when it comes to the Ljubljana-Maribor motorway, the power plant of Šentjakob. Here we plan to set up a kayak route, and the last 2 derivation plants, the Gamelne power plant, and to conclude the Tacen power plant. And here we then end. The project itself has been planned as a multi-utility project, which means that within its scope we will also resolve some other issues, especially concerning floods and groundwater, and also some other infrastructure projects. Especially I have here in mind the construction of the road network and of the railway. What happens? What is a big barrier to the implementation of this project? Well, the Natura 2000, which can either prove an obstacle or a big opportunity. In April, we have adopted a decree which has expanded the Natura sites, so the protected sites under Natura 2000. This is something that falls under the Habitat and the Birds directives. So the share of the area protected under Natura 2000 has increased to 37.2%. This percentage in brackets represents the coverage of individual habitats and species, which means that most probably this is not the end percentage. The graph here shows you that here we are the first among the EU member states. The average of the European Union stands at 72%. So the key problem and the feasibility of this project, when all studies and of the when all studies of feasibility studies are concluded, is whether we will here construct the hydropower plants, or rather will we as a state protect the species, the fish species of Hucho hucho. This is the Latin name, because this was the main reason for protecting this entire area. Well, actually, this is the reason why we are protecting half of the area which is available for energy needs. So we are thus protecting these fish species, which populates an area of 870 hectares. So within this scope, and while trying to resolve these problems, we have established that we have possible solutions to offer when it comes to saving these species. And we believe that we would be able to comply with all environmental requirements, and that we could be able to ensure cohabitation of energy plants and these fish. Here you only could see examples of good practice that come from Austria and the Danube River Basin, where these types of fish, this fish species is present, and there they adopted appropriate technical solutions, thus being able to help the fish as well. This would conclude my presentation. I would like to say one final sentence. In the morning we traveled to the moon. Now we went to the dark side of the moon, as was said by our moderator, but we should not forget to mention that power rests in energy, and irrespective of whether we are traveling or whether we are sleeping, our company will continue producing electricity. Thank you very much.